Hey there everybody, this is Gary from Constricted and Addicted. Today I've got Athena with me. We're gonna do a video. I haven't done a video in a while. I just, honestly, I haven't really felt in the mood to do a video. Every time I have the opportunity to, I come up with some excuse to why it's not a good time, or I just find something else to do. And I got a message from somebody today and asking me, hey, where have I been? Tom, thank you so much for reaching out, man. That was really cool. I appreciate it. And what it did was it got me into action and out of that little funk that I was in to do a video. So, I could use a lot of excuses, like we're writing a new album right now, doing a lot of recording, but the reality is that no matter what, I always have time to do a video. I just choose to do other things. So tonight we're gonna do it. One of the things that I'm gonna talk about is rehoming your animal. I've got Athena here. She was rehomed to me, and what we're gonna do is I wanna talk about the do's and the don'ts, the things to look for if you are rehoming an animal or if you are accepting an animal that is being rehomed. So one of the things that I do is I get on Craigslist, and I'm always looking for snakes that are pique my interest, even though Craigslist is not the place that I like to look for snakes. I've had a couple of negative experiences take place with getting snakes from Craigslist. So I figured that because I just got an animal that was rehomed to me, I figured that would be a good thing to talk about. And one of the things that I don't like about rehoming ads is when they say, we can't take care of this animal anymore, a rehoming fee applies. What you are really doing is you are selling your animal. You're not rehoming it, you are selling it, whether or not you can take care of it or not. If rehoming to me means is that either for some reason, whether you can't do it or you got some life instance that has taken place that is prohibiting you from being able to take care of the animal, you want to make sure the animal goes to a better home, that it gets the same care that maybe you were giving it. To me, that's what rehoming an animal is. If you put an animal on Craigslist or a forum of some sort and there's a price tag attached to it, you're selling the animal. So in this case, this animal was rehomed to me. The girl, she couldn't take care of him anymore, or her anymore, and she contacted a rescue. The rescue didn't have the room for it, so the rescue contacted me, and I went ahead and I took her in. And I was actually going to take her in and rehome her to someone else who may have had room for her, but she's such a sweetheart. I swear, this girl is such a good animal. She's so soft-tempered, and just, she's like a big kid. She's like almost a 7-foot kid. And I'm assuming she's probably in the realm of around 7 years old or so. Very well taken care of. But she was given to me for free so that I would take care of her the way that her owner requested. And that's what I intend to do with this animal. Whenever you go on Craigslist or you go on a forum or you've got a friend and they need to rehome an animal, some of the things that I look for personally are, first of all, health issues. I don't know where the animal comes from. So does it have a respiratory infection? Does it have mites? Those are the external things, first things that I look for in looking for a snake. Now, I know a lot of people talk about the viruses, the nanovirus, and some other viruses that I've never worried about. I've got a lot of snakes in my house, and I have never thought about any of those internal parasites or the viruses that sometimes pythons and boas can carry. I've never experienced it, and maybe I'm lucky for that. But I do read a lot about people who buy test kits and they go ahead and they get the tests done to make sure that their animals don't have that. And I see it more in the case of breeders, and I think that's just so that the breeder has a peace of mind that the animal that they're selling doesn't have that virus. But those are the things that I look for. First thing is I look for the respiratory infections and mites. So what I do with my animals is I quarantine them for about 30 days, and I put them on paper towels, make sure there's no mites. I've had her for over a week now. I don't believe she's got mites. I haven't seen one. She doesn't have any sort of respiratory infections, but what I want to do is I want to see her shed and I want to see her eat. So next weekend I'll be feeding her, and hopefully by the time she sheds, she'll have about 30 days under my belt. Once I see that, then I'll go ahead and I will put her into my collection once I feel comfortable that that's where she goes. She's very healthy. She's very, very active. She's, like I said, she's like a big kid. One of the other things that I will look for when I'm rehoming an animal, if I'm taking somebody's animal in, is temperament. The last thing in the world I want to do is take in somebody's animal who may have bitten them at some point, and maybe they're not being honest about it. Maybe they're hiding something about that animal that you don't know about, especially when you have an older animal like this one right here. When I got her, she is just as sweet then as she is now. She won my heart over in 5 minutes. Really, really, truly, she did. But don't get me wrong, I'm on the guard with her. I'm always watching her body movements, watching my body movements with her. She seems to be extremely socialized. So that's one of the things that I look for is the socialization of the animal. She's being a little herky-jerky right now. But the socialization of the animal. How is the animal around people? Is it herky-jerky? And this animal doesn't seem to have that, other than what I just experienced right now. And she wants to get down. I do let her down on the ground quite often, so when she gets down, she just loves to roam. She just loves to get out and she loves to go. So that's one of the other things that I look for whenever I'm accepting an animal from somebody is what kind of temperament does it have? What has anything happened? Has the person that owned the animal been bit? Have they been treating it well? You know, how do they treat their animals? So these are all things that I look for whenever I'm accepting a rehomed animal. Usually, you know, whenever I rehome an animal, I don't let an animal out of my sight unless I know what kind of health it's been in. I know how it sheds, I know how it acts. If there's anything indifferent or strange about the animal, I let people know about it. I don't hide it. I don't keep anything from the potential buyer or the potential keeper of that animal. I think it's important that if you are rehoming an animal, that you are upfront about whatever is going on with that animal. Like the girl that gave Athena to me, she told me that she had an RI about 2 years ago. Now, she really didn't need to tell me that information, but she did because she felt it was necessary. I am 100% certain that this animal does not have an RI whatsoever, but you know, she did tell me, and I think that's important that, you know, she shares that the health of the animal with me, whatever she's been through, whether it's a current situation or a situation that she went through. So a lot of my animals that I have been rehomed that are larger. For instance, I have Coconut. Coconut was rehomed to me he was 2 years old when I got him, and he's about 6 now. So the person that I got him from, Indian River Constrictors, she's a big girl, she weighs about 20 pounds. Indian River Constrictors, Terry was very, very upfront with me about Coconut, and Coconut had been used in programs for school education programs, so therefore I was really confident that I was getting an animal that was with a good temperament, and he assured me of its health. He just didn't have any room for it in his breeding program, so he wanted to sell me that animal, and it was more for my granddaughter to get accustomed to larger snakes, because she was liking ball pythons, and I really wanted her to get into the boa constrictors, feel what a larger animal was like. I also have Max. I bought Max. He was rehomed to me, but I bought Max. And again, with Max too, Max has a great temperament. Although he did strike at me one time, he's got a great temperament, great snake, no health issues whatsoever. So these are the things that you've got to look for, especially if you're buying off Craigslist, if you're buying off some forum, you're buying a snake from somebody you don't know. Sometimes, you know, I wish people were honest all the time, but sometimes people aren't. Sometimes maybe they don't know the problem exists, or maybe they know the problem exists and they're just trying to put the problem on somebody else. It's important that we take a look at the animals that we're getting. If people want to call it rehoming and they're paying for it or they're selling it, I mean, that's on somebody else. To me, if you're rehoming an animal, you're actually looking for a better home for that animal to go because of your inability to take care of it. Once you put a price tag on it, you're no longer rehoming that animal, you're selling it. So if you have an animal that you're looking at, that you're going to give a new home, make sure you check it out. Make sure you ask the owner a lot of questions about the animal, how long they've had it, what have they been feeding it, has it got any health issues. Inspect it yourself. Don't go off what somebody says. Take a look at that animal's mouth. If you see any sort of saliva or bubbles, it's got an RI. Be careful with it. If you see anything moving on the snake, now Athena's a very dark snake, but if it's got mites, the mites will show up on your hands. They'll crawl on you. Inspect it. Make sure and always quarantine your animal before you put it into your collection. That way, if it's got something, you don't put it into the rest of your collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really appreciate it. Again, Tom, thank you so much for reaching out to me. We'll try to be consistent with the videos from here on out. But the reality is sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. You know, I don't know, you know, I love doing it when I'm doing it, but if I take a break from it, it's like, I can find something else to do. So, but I appreciate people reaching out and asking me how I'm doing, making sure I'm okay. And that puts me in the mood to, you know what, do this, put a video out, and we'll get you on the next one. Thanks for watching, you guys.